Hey, what's up, y'all? Thanks for tuning in to another edition of On the Needle. So, if this is your first time watching, I'm reviewing some of my favorite albums since I've started collecting in December of last year. So, to keep it going, we are taking it way back on this week's edition with one of my favorite groups of all time, and that is Salt-N-Pepa. So, this album is Hot, Cool, and Vicious, which is the debut album by Salt-N-Pepa. So it features tracks like Tramp, Chick on the Side, My Mic Sounds Nice, Showstopper, I'll Take Your Man. All those songs are on this album. So it's only 8 songs on here. And if you notice, I did not mention Push It as one of those songs, but it was a really big breakout hit, their first huge hit for the group. Now, Push It, I'm sure by now people have already pretty much seen their biopic at this point, but I won't rehash that. But if you haven't, just to recap one of the shining moments that relates to this album. It's released in 1986, so it's crazy. It's like this is like almost as old as I am. So Salt-N-Pepa has been around for a long time, over 30 years, and Push It was a B-side to the single Tramp. So for those who don't know what B-sides are as it relates to albums, back in the day, the B-side single was typically the song that wasn't dubbed as the hit or the big hit. Tramp was supposed to be the big hit they were promoting, and the B side was Push It. But as we all know, Push It really took off, and to this day, that's one of their biggest songs, probably if not their biggest song that they've ever done. Um, with this album, another thing that's interesting to me, beyond it just being their debut, is this was the only time that Spinderella, as we know her for the rest of their career, was not featured on this particular album. So, also, they discussed in the biopic that there was a different Spinderella who started off with the group at first, and basically Herbie Lovebug, who produced most of their music in the early years and was also Salt's boyfriend. Seems like he kind of was feeling the original Spinderella a little too much. So she got kicked out the group, or she quit. I'm not exactly sure what happened, but on the biopic they make it seem like she got kicked out of the group. But um, this album is jamming. You know, is I've always loved Salt-N-Pepa, and they were the first female group, female rap group to go platinum. So it was a really, really big deal, and that's something that they'll always have as a place in history. Debrat was the first solo female artist, rap artist, to go platinum, and Salt-N-Pepa was the first group. And then from then on, they went platinum over and over again. And actually, at this year's Grammy Awards, they received a Lifetime Achievement Award, which I thought was very well deserving. My personal favorite of the group, I think with female groups, people always had their favorites, was Salt. I like how she was really the businesswoman of the group. To me, lyrically, she was the best. She started stepping up on albums like Black's Magic, where she wrote the song and produced Expression, which is one of my favorite songs by them. And I always thought she was the cutest one, too. But just curious to see what you all think about this album. Another interesting touch to this is on the back of the album, there's an interview with the group. So that's pretty cool. It's not really something I've seen too often, actually, not often at all, for anyone's album to include an interview. And on this interview, they have some information on here basically about their career, like, you know, how they got started, things like that. So it's pretty cool keepsake. And I got this album. I have to shout out to Coffee, Spin, and Vinyl. I may have just butchered that name, but I believe that's the name of it. It's a record shop that's local in Dallas, in the Dallas area, North Dallas. And it is such a cool shop. They have really great vegan foods that they bring in from another restaurant, I believe. I can't think of the name of it at the moment. But macaroons, they have these kolaches that are like buffalo chicken kolaches, but it's not meat, it's vegan, so it's really good. Um, But I got this album for less than $10, so I cannot pass it up. I typically don't favor albums that have already been pre-owned, but this was actually right after the biopic came out, and for that price, I just couldn't pass it up. So figured I'd go ahead and get this one. And yeah, it's definitely, I would say, a great one to have in my collection because this is really a history making album. It was the first time that you really saw women in hip hop take such a bold stance as they did, as Salt-N-Pepa did, and as they really continued throughout their whole career. I think they continued to reinvent themselves with each album, but they pretty much stayed true to their formula, which was, being sassy, women's empowerment, being independent, just business women and just go-getters. So curious to see what your favorite tracks are on this album, if you've ever listened to it, Hot, Cool, and Vicious, and what you think about Salt-N-Pepa and their Lifetime Achievement Award win for this year. Also, Selena won that award this year as well. There was another R&B group, I can't think of the name, but some pretty big heavy hitters who have quite a lengthy legacy in the music business got some well-deserved Lifetime Achievement Awards, I would say. So don't forget to rate, comment, and subscribe. And thank you all for tuning in to this week's On the Needle. And I'll see you next Friday. Peace.